Hi there, and welcome. Thank you for being here today. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by work, exhausted by expectations, or lost in the rush of daily deadlines, you're not alone. This is the story of how one woman, once consumed by burnout, found her way back to health, purpose, and peace. It's a journey of small changes, deep realizations, and the power of setting boundaries. This is From Burnout to Balance, my workplace health transformation. Take a deep breath. And let's begin. The fluorescent lights of Stellar Tech pulsed with a relentless energy, mirroring the frenetic pace of the office. For Anya Sharma, a senior project manager, the hum had become a constant companion, a dull thrumming beneath the surface of her perpetually stressed existence. Anya had always been a high achiever, driven by an internal engine that rarely allowed her to rest. Stellar Tech, a rapidly growing tech startup, thrived on that very quality, rewarding long hours and unwavering dedication with promotions and accolades. Initially, Anya had reveled in the recognition, the feeling of accomplishment washing over her like a warm wave. But lately, the waves felt more like tsunamis, threatening to engulf her entirely. Her days bled into nights, weekends evaporated into catch-up sessions, and the line between work and personal life had blurred beyond recognition. She'd started skipping meals, her once vibrant skin now pale and drawn. Sleep was a luxury she could no longer afford, replaced by racing thoughts and anxious anticipation of the next day's challenges. Her apartment, once a sanctuary, had become an extension of the office, a place where her laptop resided permanently on the kitchen table, casting a cold blue light across the room. The joy she once found in cooking, reading, and spending time with friends had dwindled, replaced by an annoying sense of obligation and a fear of falling behind. The turning point came during a particularly grueling project deadline. Anya had been working non-stop for 72 hours, fueled by caffeine and sheer willpower. She'd ignored her body's desperate pleas for rest, pushing herself to the brink of exhaustion. During a crucial client presentation, her vision blurred, her words slurred, and she fainted. The room swam around her as she collapsed. The last thing she heard before blacking out was the panicked murmur of her colleagues. She woke up in a sterile hospital room, the rhythmic beeping of machines a stark reminder of her physical breakdown. A doctor stood beside her bed, his expression grave. "Anya, you're suffering from severe exhaustion and burnout," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "You need to make significant changes to your lifestyle, or you risk serious long-term health consequences." His words hit Anya like a ton of bricks. She knew she was burning the candle at both ends, but she hadn't realized the extent of the damage. Lying in that hospital bed, surrounded by the cold, clinical environment, she finally acknowledged the truth. She was killing herself for a job. The realization was both terrifying and liberating. It was time to reclaim her life. The first step, the doctor advised, was setting boundaries. "You need to learn to say no," he explained. "Protect your time, prioritize your well-being, and don't be afraid to assert your needs." The concept felt foreign to Anya. Saying no had always felt like a sign of weakness, a betrayal of her commitment to Stellar Tech, but she knew she had to try. Her health depended on it. Returning to work after a week of medical leave was daunting. Anya felt a mix of anxiety and determination. She was greeted by a concerned but slightly wary team. Her manager, David, a man known for his demanding expectations, approached her with a mix of sympathy and concern. "Anya, we're glad you're back," he said, his voice surprisingly soft. "But we need you at your best. Don't hesitate to delegate tasks and take breaks." Anya took his words to heart. She started small, implementing incremental changes to her daily routine. She began by setting a strict cutoff time for work emails, refusing to respond to messages after 7 p.m. This was met with some resistance from colleagues who were used to her instant availability, but Anya politely but firmly explained that she needed to prioritize her personal time. She also started blocking out time in her calendar for lunch breaks, ensuring she stepped away from her desk to eat a proper meal. She even ventured outside for short walks, soaking in the sunlight and fresh air. The biggest challenge was learning to delegate. Anya had always been a control freak, believing that she was the only one who could do things right. But she realized that her reluctance to delegate was contributing to her workload and preventing her team from developing their skills. She started by assigning smaller tasks to her junior colleagues, providing them with clear instructions and offering support when needed. To her surprise, they rose to the occasion, exceeding her expectations. Delegating not only freed up her time but also empowered her team, fostering a sense of collaboration and shared responsibility. As Anya began to establish boundaries, she noticed a subtle but significant shift in her well-being. She felt less stressed, more energized, and more in control of her life. She started sleeping better, her skin regained its healthy glow, and she rediscovered her love for cooking and spending time with friends. She even joined a yoga class, finding solace and rejuvenation in the practice of mindfulness. However, the road to recovery wasn't without its bumps. There were times when she felt guilty for not being available 24/7, times when she questioned whether she was doing enough, and times when she was tempted to revert to her old habits. But she reminded herself of the doctor's warning and the promise she had made to herself in that hospital bed. She persevered, knowing that her health was worth fighting for. One day, David called her into his office. Anya braced herself, expecting a reprimand for her perceived lack of dedication. But instead, David smiled warmly. "Anya, I've noticed a remarkable change in you," he said. "You seem happier, more focused, and more effective. Your team is thriving under your leadership, and your projects are running smoothly. Whatever you're doing, keep it up." Anya smiled, relief washing over her. She had proven that it was possible to be successful without sacrificing her health. She had learned that setting boundaries wasn't a sign of weakness but a sign of strength, a testament to her self-worth. She had transformed her workplace from a toxic environment into a supportive one, not just for herself but for her entire team. The healing at Stellar Tech had started with small boundaries, but it had blossomed into a profound and lasting change. But Anya's journey wasn't over. This was just the beginning of a much deeper exploration into the systemic issues within Stellar Tech that contributed to the culture of overwork and burnout. She realized that individual boundaries, while essential, were only a partial solution. The larger problem lay in the company's unspoken expectations, its reward system that incentivized long hours, and its lack of support for employee well-being. Anya decided to take on a new role, not just as a project manager, but as an advocate for workplace health. She started by conducting an anonymous survey to gauge employee stress levels and identify the key stressors within the company. The results were alarming, revealing widespread burnout, anxiety, and a sense of isolation. Armed with this data, Anya approached David with a proposal for a comprehensive well-being program. She suggested implementing flexible work arrangements, offering subsidized gym memberships, providing access to mental health resources, and organizing regular workshops on stress management and mindfulness. David, initially hesitant, was eventually persuaded by Anya's data-driven approach and her passionate advocacy. He agreed to pilot the program in Anya's department, with the understanding that its success would determine its wider implementation across the company. Anya threw herself into the project, collaborating with HR to design a program that addressed the specific needs of Stellar Tech's employees. She organized workshops on time management, communication skills, and conflict resolution. She introduced mindfulness meditation sessions during lunch breaks, creating a space for employees to distress and recharge. She also advocated for a more flexible work policy, allowing employees to work from home occasionally and adjust their schedules to better accommodate their personal needs. The results of the pilot program were remarkable. Employee stress levels decreased significantly, productivity increased, and morale improved. Employees reported feeling more supported, more engaged, and more valued. The program's success was undeniable, and David quickly approved its implementation across the entire company. But Anya didn't stop there. She realized that changing the company culture required more than just programs and policies. It required a fundamental shift in mindset, a recognition that employee well-being was not just a perk but a critical component of business success. She started leading by example, prioritizing her own health and well-being, and encouraging her colleagues to do the same. She openly discussed her own struggles with burnout, sharing her strategies for managing stress and maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Anya also became a vocal advocate for challenging the culture of overwork. She questioned the assumption that long hours equated to productivity, pointing out that exhausted and stressed employees were more likely to make mistakes and burn out. She encouraged employees to take breaks, to disconnect from work after hours, and to prioritize their personal lives. She even started a company-wide initiative called Wellbeing Wednesdays, where employees were encouraged to focus on their health and well-being. Whether it was taking a walk, attending a yoga class, or simply spending time with loved ones. Slowly but surely, the culture at StellarTech began to transform. Employees started prioritizing their health and well-being, setting boundaries, and supporting each other. The company became known as a place that valued its employees, not just for their productivity but for their humanity. And Anya Sharma, the project manager who had once been on the brink of burnout, became a symbol of hope and resilience, a testament to the power of boundaries and the importance of workplace health. Years later, Anya would reflect on her journey with a sense of gratitude and accomplishment. She had not only healed herself, but had also helped to heal her workplace. She had learned that true success wasn't about climbing the corporate ladder, but about creating a culture of well-being, where employees could thrive both professionally and personally. She had discovered that the key to a healthy workplace was not just about setting boundaries, but about fostering a sense of community, empathy, and shared responsibility. And she had proven that even the most demanding workplaces could be transformed into havens of health and well-being, one small boundary at a time. But even after all these changes, Anya knew that maintaining a healthy work environment was an ongoing process, not a destination. Complacency could easily creep in, and old habits could resurface. She realized that she needed to constantly be vigilant, monitoring employee well-being and addressing any emerging issues. She also recognized the importance of continuing to innovate and adapt the well-being program to meet the evolving needs of the workforce. One of the biggest challenges she faced was the influx of new employees who were accustomed to a different work culture. These new hires often brought with them the old habits of overwork and a reluctance to set boundaries. Anya knew that she needed to proactively educate these new employees about StellarTech's commitment to well-being and to help them integrate into the company's culture of health. She developed a comprehensive onboarding program that included workshops on boundary setting, stress management, and mindfulness. She also assigned mentors to new employees, pairing them with experienced employees who could model healthy work habits and provide support. Anya also made sure that the company's leadership team was fully on board with the well-being program. She knew that if the leaders didn't walk the talk, the employees wouldn't either. She regularly communicated the importance of well-being to the leadership team and encouraged them to prioritize their own health and well-being. Anya also started tracking key metrics related to employee well-being, such as stress levels, absenteeism rates, and employee satisfaction scores. This data helped her to identify areas where the well-being program could be improved and to measure the impact of the program over time. She used this data to make data-driven decisions about the well-being program and to justify her requests for additional resources. In addition to the formal well-being program, Anya also fostered a culture of informal support within the company. She encouraged employees to connect with each other, to share their struggles, and to offer support. She created opportunities for employees to socialize outside of work, such as company picnics, team-building activities, and volunteer events. Anya also recognized the importance of celebrating successes. She made sure to acknowledge and reward employees who were prioritizing their health and well-being, setting boundaries, and supporting their colleagues. She also celebrated the company's overall progress in creating a culture of well-being. Over time, Stellar Tech became known as a company that truly cared about its employees. The company's reputation attracted top talent, reduced employee turnover, and improved overall productivity. Anya's work had not only transformed Stellar Tech, but had also inspired other companies to prioritize employee well-being. Anya became a sought-after speaker and consultant, sharing her insights and strategies with other organizations. She wrote articles and blog posts about workplace health, and she even published a book on the topic. Anya's work had a ripple effect, helping to create a more humane and sustainable work culture around the world. Despite her success, Anya never forgot the lessons she had learned from her own burnout experience. She continued to prioritize her own health and well-being, setting boundaries, and seeking support when needed. She also remained committed to advocating for workplace health, knowing that the fight for a better work culture was never truly over. She understood that continuous effort and constant adjustments are needed to maintain the well-being of people within the workplace. Sometimes old habits die hard, and there will always be a need to reevaluate and re-strategize to maintain a healthy and supportive environment. The most important thing is always be cognizant of the people around you, and listen to their struggles and concerns, and find ways to help them navigate a world that requires a lot out of them. Anya always kept this in mind, and it helped her to create the workplace environment that she had. She even mentored other organizations on how to follow suit. Thank you so much for listening. If this story touched something inside you, if you've ever felt the weight of burnout, or wondered whether things could be different, know this. You are not alone, and change is possible. Anya's story is proof that even the smallest boundaries can spark powerful transformation. That healing doesn't require perfection, just the courage to begin. So maybe today is the day you set that first boundary. Turn off your work phone a little earlier. Take that walk. Say no without guilt, or simply rest. If this story resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, a colleague, or someone who might need this reminder. Your health matters. Your peace matters. You matter. Until next time, take care of yourself. And keep choosing balance, one small step at a time.